Hello there, and welcome to the final review for Ray Bradbury's The Day It Rained Forever in this phenomenal penguin book with its very striking cover. The cover was done by David Pelham. It isn't going to be the same cover as you got on the thumbnail because this is the third and final review. And I wanted to distinguish them a little bit. Okay, so my last review took us up to the 14th story in this compilation of 23. The 14th was Here There Be Tigers. And because I've already done two reviews, I'm probably going to repeat some of the things I said in the other ones. Sorry about that. It's just one of those things that happens, especially when your memory's bad. Part of this book was read on the rest stops of a road trip that I recently completed. And I want to thank everyone who voted the other day in my other video for which book to read, because Ray Bradbury was the one that most people voted for. And I may not have finished it if it hadn't been one that had been voted by viewers and YouTubers. I didn't realize when I picked it up that it was short stories. I just knew it was a Ray Bradbury. And I may not have got through all of them if I hadn't had the motivation, or I may not have picked it up right away if it hadn't been for the voting. Another voting video will be coming up shortly. Peel your eyes and see. Anyhow, so story 15 here was The Headpiece. And it's a weird one. One of the things I realized while reading this book is how little science fiction Ray Bradbury is actually writing in it. Some of it is science fiction. There's two Martian stories, but a lot of it is just weird fiction. Strange stories, strange people, strange incidences, quirks, twists. So The Headpiece is one of the ones that is quirky. It's a character study more than anything else, and it's dated more than a little bit. So you've got this man in a rental apartment. One gets boarding house vibes. We don't even have boarding houses anymore, at least not in Australia, but that's what it feels like. He gets something in the mail, and there's this strange, almost stream of conscious narrative about this thing that he's been waiting for. He finally unwraps it. There's some strange dialogue about scalped Indians, and I'm really not sure if that was meant to be metaphor or real. Anyway, he's ordered a toupee. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Eventually one realizes. And one finds that this headpiece that he's been waiting for so long is to cover a hole in his head. One assumes he's balding, and one is inclined to go, oh, well, that's just dated. People don't care as much about balding anymore as they used to. But then we slowly realize it isn't actually a bald spot. It's a bald spot, but not a normal balding spot. And we also find out that he won't go out where he can be seen with this thing. With this piece of hair attached to his head, he finally gets together the courage to go next door to a young woman living near him and ask her out where she can see him. Will he wear it? Won't he wear it? We don't know. It's quite clear early on that this guy is not a nice guy. He's not actively homicidally terrible or anything. He just isn't someone you really want to hang out with. He's a bit odd. He's got some strangenesses. Anyhow, he and his neighbour go and sit on the veranda, and we hear all his back history and how he got the hole in his head. He's coming across as a less and less nice person all the time, and there's a bit of a punchline. So not science fiction, but so well written. The writing throughout, Ray Bradbury, I just forget from time to time. I know he's a great writer. I know that his prose is great, but it just gets greater and greater. Anyway, that was number 15, The Headpiece. Great story, strange and very well written character, completely not science fiction. Number 16 is Perchance To Dream. And at that point, I was wondering if I was perhaps suffering from a surfeit of Ray Bradbury, because I just didn't love that story, and I can't exactly point out why, which, as you may know, is a bit unusual to me. I don't really know why I didn't like it. I don't really know what it was about it that just failed to grab me. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I wasn't in the mood for it. But there's this guy and he's marooned. This is thoroughly science fiction, by the way. He's crashed his rocket ship on a planet with only designated by a number. And there's nothing much there. But he's got enough food and water and air to last him. So he sends through a rescue message. Base tells him someone will rescue him in however many days. And he sits around to wait. He's got these days to wait. There's nothing else for him to do. But whenever he falls asleep, he gets these weird oohing and ahhing sounds inside his head. These voices speaking to him. And they claim that they're two individual characters from old civilizations that were opponents and they fought each other. And now they're all dead. They're well and truly gone. But they're inhabiting his head when he sleeps in a weird sort of way. And they're slowly driving him insane because if he sleeps, they inhabit his head and that drives him insane. And if you don't sleep, well, they say you go insane anyway. So it's very, very weird. It's very, very dated. And one of the characters is called Ayor and the other one's Tile or whatever. Anyhow, I didn't really enjoy it very much. In terms of the Ray Bradburys that I've read so far, I gave would give it the Headpiece a 2 and Perchance To Dream a 3. I liked it a little bit better than the Headpiece, but its punchline made up for it. So it's got a really good punchline because someone comes to rescue him and they're planning an overnight stop. Very, very peculiar. I don't know that I've ever read anything quite like it before. Okay, the ending does make up for it. It is very much science fiction. Still not my favourite of all time. Okay, number 17 is The Time of Going Away. Again, not a science fiction, but this one has got very much an ideas story with character. It's basically a character and ideas story. This man is just going away. He's not packed very much. He's got a tiny suitcase. He's putting on his coat. He's going to go away to die. A man just knows when his time to die comes and he's going to walk out and his wife's going, "What are you doing? You got this idea out of a National Geographic, didn't you? This is just stupid. You always get these ideas." And she tells him about all these other ideas he has. And it's short. It's a rather tender story in lots of ways and just a little bit odd. A little bit of weirdness that was quite pleasant to read. Number 15 is The Gift. Again, science fiction in that science fiction light style of the earlier stories. And it reminded me a lot of airports and airport lounges, actually. So family, mother, father, small boy are going into space. And at customs, they stopped them and told them that their weight allowance was over, so they wouldn't let them take the Christmas present or the Christmas tree that they'd promised their boy he would have if they were going into space. And the father finds a rather unique and delightful solution to that problem. Science fiction, beautifully written, cute and cool little idea. I did very much enjoy that one. Where are we? What are we up to? That was 18. Okay, so we're up to number 19. The Little Mice. This one was surprising because you expect something to happen that doesn't happen. Well, I was expecting, having read several other science fiction-y horror ones, I was expecting something to happen that didn't happen. A couple realise that their tenants in the back of their house never make a sound. They come home, there's no sounds of cooking, there's no dishes, nothing seems to happen in that apartment. And the wife and husband are talking about how weird it is. The wife says she's passed by at night and seen the two of them just sitting upright in two armchairs, not doing anything, not speaking, not reading, not doing anything. And they're immigrants and their English isn't great. And the husband realizes that there's only one light in the whole of their apartment, this really, really faint blue light. And again, what do? They're silent as two little mice. Say hi. Hi. That's as good as you get. And then a few other things happen. The husband and wife are curious about their tenants. They want to learn more. And eventually they have a roof malfunction that forces them to go in, even though the tenants try to stop them. And they find nothing as weird or as horrific as I expected, just odd. Another short, odd, well-written character biopic type story. Moving us on to the 20, The Sunset Harp. And this one was quirky and a bit naif. Two old guys on a beach. It's a beach that apparently the houses are mostly inhabited by holidayers. A boy comes running, says you have to see what's washed up on the beach. It turns out to be a mermaid. She's not quite dead. She's got a bit of a pulse. One of the old guys goes, wow, we can make a fortune on this. I'll go get a truck. I'll go get some ice. We can sell her. We can do this. We can do that. And the remaining man and the two boys are left watching her on the beach. And eventually she washes out to sea. Once again, beautiful writing. Very naif, quirky element to it. It's definitely the strange, and it's definitely an emotional story rather than an exciting science fiction-y story. Moving on to 21, A Scent of Sarsaparilla. And I hope I'm saying that right. We don't have sarsaparilla very much here, so whatever. This story was great. I really love this one. An old man is in the attic clearing it out. His wife keeps complaining that she can't hear him doing anything, so he can't be clearing anything. He's just going up there and going through all the memories and memory lane things. And he keeps coming back and trying to engage her with memories of what they used to do together when they were young, tandem bicycles, and going to soda cream shops, maybe? All this stuff. And she keeps repelling him. She sounds a bit like a sourpuss, an unhappy old woman who just doesn't want to bring joy into her life very much. Anyway, he keeps trying to engage her, and one day he comes down wearing a top hat and a candy cane striped coat that she says looks new. They don't look like they've been in the attic. She accuses him of stealing all their money to buy this frivolity. And finally he says to her, look, I'm going back to the past. I don't like it here anymore. Will you come with me? He keeps trying to get her to come with him. She keeps calling him a fool and saying it's not real, and she's going to go up and throw out everything from the attic so he won't be doing whatever he's doing, which is essentially being happy. Okay. Finally, he goes up to the attic and vanishes. And when she calls him, she goes up to the attic. She finds a ladder leading down from the window. Sorry, I'm spoiling this, but whatever. A ladder leading down from one of the attic windows into the past. And instead of going down it into that glorious past that she remembers, she goes downstairs, and that's the end of the story. Very, very enjoyable, well-paced. It's a feeling story, and I had a great time with it. So number 22 is And the Rock Cried Out. And this is a lovely little biopic of two Americans stuck in South America after there's been some huge war between America and Europe. And all of a sudden, they are trying to get across the border to a country where it's safe, and they can't. Their money means nothing. Next thing you know, they've lost all their possessions. Their car's been stolen. It all sounds quite horrible. And it's actually a really good story that is totally not science fiction, because it could happen to anyone, really, kinda. Except for the ending. I did not like that ending at all, whatever it was. I don't actually know how it ended. I would spoiler it for you if I could, but I can't, because I don't know what that was meant to be. No, not a clue. If you've read The Rock and the Rock Cried Out, let me know what the hell that ending was meant to be. I don't know, and I don't approve. The final one was The Strawberry Window. And it's nice that this collection finishes on one of Bradbury's famous Martian stories. Once again, we've got a scenario similar to the early Martian story in the book, where you've got a family, mother, father, I think it's 2 or 3 sons, have moved to Mars and they're unhappy. The man misses the windows on their old house. The wife misses how the house creaked and felt about them. They feel lost and at sea on Mars. And in this one, again, a bit spoilery, I guess, the man arranges to have parts of their old house brought up from America to Mars. And the party starts with the veranda and the rocking chair they used to sit on the veranda, and the door with its panes of colours glass, one of them being the strawberry coloured glass window. And you look through it and Mars is all of a sudden warm and friendly and lush. So it's the rose coloured glasses, only it's a window pane in a door. I'm really glad I read The Day It Rained Forever. It's taken me a while. Actually, it's taken me all month to get through it, I think. I can't really read more than one at a time, and they're very short stories. Each story requires your attention, and it requires you to think about it before and after. There's a lot happening in some of them, and in some of them there's almost nothing happening except a cool idea around which is centered some absolutely stunning writing. Now, these days when people talk about the greats of science fiction, you hear Asimov, you hear Heinlein, and you mostly hear Clarke. My understanding is that back in the day, the three greats were Bradbury, Asimov, and Heinlein. And it's funny that he's fallen into a niche writer who not so many people talk about and not so many people read. I think part of it is the fact that he isn't really doing that stereotypical science fiction writing, the mainstream science writing that you get from Asimov or Heinlein, where you've got no doubt but that you're reading science fiction. His writing is subtle. He concentrates on small beauties and tiny terrors. He concentrates on making characters feel real. And he just takes this small idea and turns it into the nucleus of a beautifully written story, occasionally with amazing characters. And the characters are there as themselves, as well as a way of progressing the story. I know that sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it does. And I do thoroughly recommend, if you want a short story collection, The Day It Rained Forever. I believe it's got another title as well. Someone put it in the comments. Tell me again. I've forgotten. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Read lots of good books.